Right now, we said there's more to bring you on the Alexander Isak saga. For goodness sake, I'm not a Newcastle fan. I do a bit of a passion for them, obviously, as a North East club, but I wish this was just all done and dusted, because it seems to have gone on forever. Let's find how close it is to being done and dusted by heading straight to our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Pards.
All right, Crookie.
So, Crookie, come on. Is it almost over?
Well, you never say never in this transfer window, do you? Because on Friday, certain outlets were reporting that Liverpool would walk away from their interest in Alexander Isak, having had an initial offer of more than £110 million rejected. I never really bought into that. I think it's all been about Newcastle looking to bring in a suitable replacement, and then negotiations would resume. We reported last night on talkSPORT that Newcastle have upped their offer to RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko. It's now a guaranteed £70 million plus add-ons. There seems to be optimism this morning that offer certainly will be accepted by Leipzig. And then, of course, it will be up to Šeško to decide if he wants to make the move to St James's Park. And if he does, I'm reporting this morning that Newcastle reluctantly would then be willing to cash in on Alexander Isak, assuming they can agree a deal with Liverpool. So good news, I guess, in one respect, that Newcastle are confident of signing Šeško, but bad news if you're a Newcastle fan, that I don't think he'll be coming in to play alongside Alexander Isak, but more to replace him.
I've got a text in actually on that, Crookie, from Kessie, who's a Newcastle fan, who says, "Morning, Jeff. Eddie Howe is sitting down with Isak today to try and convince him to stay, and we're hearing that is now a big possibility. What do you make of that?"
Well, I think Alexander Isak has made his stance pretty clear. This is not a situation that has only really been rumbling in the last few weeks. I would suggest this is a situation that has been in the offing since this time last year, when Newcastle reneged on a promise to give Alexander Isak a new contract. That was when Paul Mitchell, the sporting director, decided that actually, because he was contracted until 2028, it wasn't a matter of urgency. That didn't sit well with Alexander Isak and his representatives. He's made it clear in subsequent talks that he wants £300,000 a week to even contemplate staying at Newcastle. That would smash their pay structure. I don't think it's realistic at this moment in time. And once the champions come calling, it's pretty clear that Isak has had his head turned. Obviously, he stayed away from the training ground last week, didn't travel with the rest of his teammates for pre-season. I think it's going to be difficult for Eddie Howe to convince Isak to change his stance, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think I'm right. Am I right in saying that Sesko bid is probably around the figure that they released as a clause when it's 70 million? I seem to fit in my mind, and I think if that gets agreed by the club, then there's a really interesting conversation between the agent, the player, and Eddie Howe, and that is Isak staying? Because if Isak is staying, then I can't see Sesko going there. Where is he going to play?
Yeah.
So, it as you say, the jigsaw is sort of forming, isn't it? Sesko to Newcastle, Isak to Liverpool looks very much on. So I get where you're coming with that. Who knows? I mean, if Sesko doesn't come, then Newcastle are in a real problem.
If Šeško doesn't come, and obviously there's still the fear for Newcastle that Manchester United linger in the background, I don't think they can contemplate selling Isak. I think they want a like-for-like replacement. They're in talks with Brentford for Yohan Wissa as well. That may well happen because Brentford seem to be softening their stance on him being allowed to leave. But I think in reality, they probably need both Šeško and Wissa because, of course, they've already lost Callum Wilson. He's now a West Ham player. So they probably need two strikers to contemplate. And actually,
Crookie, if you put them two deals together, it comes out a very similar figure to the Isak deal.
Yeah, you're right, Pards. Good maths there. I think 40 million is what Brentford are looking for Wissa, although Newcastle would like to do it for cheaper, and 70 million, as you've mentioned already, for Šeško. The original bid from Liverpool was £110 million plus add-ons. It will get to above a British record fee, I think, above what Liverpool paid for Florian Wirtz. And we've spoken a lot about Newcastle and the ramifications for them. What about the ramifications for the rest of the Premier League? If all of a sudden you're looking at a Liverpool attack that includes Mo Salah, Alexander Isak, Ugo Ekitike, who they're very excited about, and Cody Gakpo, who scored so many goals last season as well.
This is a very Newcastle-heavy segment, Crookie, but I have to mention that once again, Newcastle being linked, as they seem to have been linked with forever, with Mark Gahey.
Yeah, I've not heard a great deal on that one this summer. I have to say, obviously, that they spent a lot of last summer courting him again. That was a deal that Paul Mitchell couldn't quite get over the line. He's no longer the sporting director, so maybe it can be rectified. But I think at the moment, Newcastle's main focus is on this Šeško deal, on signing Johan Wissa. They probably do need strength in numbers at centre-back because Sven Botman, as much of a talent he is, obviously has picked up a lot of injuries. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're sniffing around Gay again. But as I say, I've not heard anything definitive on that as yet.
Crookie, thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, Crookie.
Cheers, guys.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.